So an extensive 42-minute presentation finished by Hariharan just now, inclusive of the opinions and questions by the listeners. Now, time for Dakshin Siddharth to make his presentation. He has prepared a presentation of his own, and now the floor is open for him. Come.
Thanks. Then listen. Nala இருந்துச்சு யூஸ் பண்ண So, hi everyone, greetings. So, I'm going to basically do what Hariharan did today. He explained certain qualities that everyone must possess, but I'm going to give that in the form of people and examples and what are the qualities they possess. And these are some of the people that I've chosen and I like them. So, basically I'm doing from world leaders and sports first. Because for music I have more number of people, so it won't be able to be contained in this single presentation, so I'll do it as a part 2, but in part 1 mostly world leaders and sports. So yeah, leaders, so let's quickly get into it. So first, Sundar Pichai. So in leaders I'm also including entrepreneurs. So basically Sundar Pichai, he has vision, innovation, open-mindedness, planning, strategic thinking and usage. So I'll explain the complex ones first. So open-mindedness is the tendency of a person to accept a lot of new ideas. That's what open-mindedness is. So in order to be successful, you have to do something new, and you have to accept that your previous ideas may contain a few mistakes, and you must be ready to include new ideas. So that's what open-mindedness is. And I'll give an incident from everyone's life to tell you better. And Sundar Pichai, his father's 1 year's salary was spent on his plane ticket to America, and his family risked a lot on him, but he came out successful in the end. And usage. So usage is basically a term that I coined. It's basically using whatever resources you have and maximizing the profit. So that's what he did. He was initially in the marketing department of Google, and he worked his way up, and eventually became the CEO. So he was the one who pioneered Google Chrome, and he's a very incredible person and a great leader as well. So Barack Obama, he is an incredible leader, and he's very down to earth. He's patriotic. He has good negotiation skills, because you look right now, when he was the president, Ukraine did not invade Russia. When Trump was the president, Russia did not invade Ukraine. When Trump was the president, Russia didn't invade Ukraine, but Biden came.
That's a bit stooping to counter.
Yes,
it was on the cards. The war was on the cards.
Yes,
decades back.
Yes,
ever since George Bush was there. But these people,
Putin was kind of scared of these people.
Yeah, they were scared of these people. These people kept him under control.
Yes.
That too on a friendly control.
Yes, that's what negotiation.
That specifically Barack Obama, he had him under control with emotional stability and good bonding.
Yes.
That's something that no president was able to.
Yes. And Biden came, Putin was not scared anymore. And,
it was just like he came like a cat, calling himself as a tiger, and Putin was enjoying the kind of liberty.
Yes. So, but still Biden is creating jobs and all, but in terms of negotiation, I don't think Biden stands a chance before Obama. Neither does Trump. So Obama is just incredible.
If you see, how many times we have seen Hollywood movies casting black?
Yes.
Right now, look into that. Right? So you cannot see Hollywood movie without a black man.
Yes.
Right? Starting from the top layer, directors like Christopher Nolan, Spielberg, everybody is using black people.
Yes. Yes. And policy framing, he is incredible in framing policies, very intellectual, and relationship handling. He tries not to get into trouble with everyone. And one more thing about him is, the reason I mentioned down to earth is because in 2001, you know what happened, September 11, 2001, 9/11, the Twin Towers crashed and Osama bin Laden did it. So when Bush was the president, he was not captured. But as soon after Obama came, they killed Osama bin Laden, and he announced it in front of the mic, like in front of the people. He announced, and he said that we killed a man who, and then he mentioned about the sacrifices that the citizens made. Actually, the citizens, the brave citizens of the US, they sprung into action in one of the flights and they prevented further damage. So he talked about all that. He didn't talk about how Bush never succeeded, but he did. So that's what down to earth is. I mean,
Which Donald Trump was doing. That was the only thing Donald Trump
Yes.
was posting about.
yes. So he didn't want to use that 9/11 issue as a scenario to boast himself. I mean, you could. A lot of politicians, even in India, they look at situations and they try to take control so that they can get votes again. But he didn't do it. He that's why he's down to earth and patriotic. So Obama is one of my inspirations for sure. And Elon Musk. Okay, people don't like his personality, but I like the way he revolutionized space exploration. I mean, no one thought that private rockets could be sent to the world. I mean, spent into the space. Everyone thought when we talk about rockets or space science, the first word that came to our mind was NASA, but now SpaceX is also coming up, and NASA themselves have given projects to SpaceX. That's why I like Elon Musk and how actually
Which one you also applied about Tesla or SpaceX?
SpaceX.
Right.
I like space a lot. So I like astronomy, and that's why I like astrophysics. So one more thing about Elon Musk is, so I'm actually narrating an example from everyone's life. So from Elon Musk's life. Before that, in my school, a person from ISRO came, and I was supposed to like introduce him to give an introduction about him, and he was like a project director or something at ISRO. I don't clearly remember. So no, sir. Like I don't remember his name, sir, but he's from Kerala.
Why is that?
No, sir. Not too famous, sir. He's below them.
Shivan is another planet. Okay, right.
So he was asked about someone, and then there was a chance for everyone at my school to ask him a question, and someone asked, "Is it possible to go to Mars?" So he said, "As long as that man Elon Musk is alive, anything is possible." So like that's when there are some people who give a belief to everyone.
Where did he get all this money for doing this craziest and insurmountable things? How has he become so wealthy? Of all the people, why is he alone so wealthy to do this crazy, impossible stuff?
So if you look at SpaceX or even Tesla, they don't spend like crazy money like Apple or Google does. I mean, he knows how to utilize his resources well. Like I said about Sundar Pichai, and he failed a lot before becoming who he is right now. And the thing about Elon Musk is, I think he's creative, so he's innovative. He does things that no one has ever thought before, and that creativity sets him apart from others. Sir. And right now, like a few years back, we were talking about Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and now he has thrown them out of the path, and he's on another level.
He has his own league.
Yes, he's the richest person in the world, and now neither Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos can come close to him. He's at that level. And
He books Indian net rate, petrol on a minimum basis. He books 52,500 rupees every 2 minutes. ஒவ்வொரு 2 நிமிஷத்துக்கு ஒரு தடவை அவன் கம்பெனியில் 52,500 ரூபா ப்ராஃபிட் வந்துருக்கு. He doesn't even know how it happens.
Yes.
He's learning while sleeping.
By eating,
Huh?
by eating, he has been.
The vast of the things are contributed by Indian stakeholders.
yes. And an incident from his life, he was so obsessed with working that I have actually a book of his, and he used to sleep at his office when he was growing up, and despite the fact that he's the richest man, he sometimes sleeps at his office. And look at him, his Tesla office is in San Francisco, and his SpaceX office is in Los Angeles, so he keeps shuttling in between these two cities. And yeah, he owns Twitter as well, and he's just he's the current emperor. He's the one who, like, he's the most influential person in the world right now. No one comes close. I mean, this man, he was born in South Africa. His mother was Canadian, so he got Canadian citizenship. And now United States completely, like, they've told him that you can stay here all you want, accept our citizenship, and you're not going anywhere else. And the US itself, the world's most powerful country, they are buttering him so much, and they want him to stay. I mean, that's one thing about the US. They appreciate talent, no matter where it comes from. So they are giving him a godlike status there. Abraham Lincoln. So in our history classes, we had Civil War, which was a lesson, and there we talked about him. And one of the things that I've always been fascinated about, and I believe in, is racial equality. No matter what race you belong to, or everyone is human, and that's what he also believed. And in a time in America where black people were tortured, and not just in the US, you take the United Kingdom, South Africa, apartheid was going on. In Germany, Holocaust about the Jews, that's also racism. Maybe they were not black, but still they belong to another religion, that also comes under racism. So he was like the first person to fight racism on a global scale, and he converted slaves into citizens, and look how many great black people are now coming up in the world. And I think that also inspired our freedom struggle, and that's why I like the Civil War and the American War of Independence, because that inspired, if US can do it, then we Indians can also do it. That's what Indian freedom fighters felt. And
one of the most reachable presidents the world has ever seen.
Yes.
Even can walk through this.
Yes, sir. So he was a lawyer, and he fought for the rights of the people. And when he became president, he passed a rule that all of the black men could be free, but the southern states didn't accept it, and that's why the war happened. And there's one film, yes sir, not Lincoln sir, another film called Emancipation by Will Smith. It came in 2022. And yes sir, and where he plays a black slave who escapes from his masters and goes to join Lincoln's army. So that's a beautiful movie, and there Lincoln's contributions have been highlighted, and how Lincoln freed the black people. And there's a photo you must have seen where it's actually based on a true person, sir, a real life person. And when he was photographed, his back was filled with scars and lashes, whiplashes. And at the end, he says that these whiplashes are a sign of my resistance. Because when do they hit you? When you don't listen to them. So the number of hits you get means that you resisted them that many times. So that was another thing, and Lincoln inspired them all. So Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he is like one of the greatest freedom fighters that our country has ever produced. So he's courageous. He formed the Indian National Army, and equality. He did it with women. He had a separate like section for women soldiers as well. And at that time, Indians had a mentality that women cannot fight, only men could do it. So he brought women also into the army. And the only thing I don't like about him is he was friends with Hitler. That's the only thing, because I hate Hitler.
Admired Hitler.
Yes.
He admired the man. Not because of three reasons. Reason number one, he, for some reason which is best known for this man, he thinks that Hitler, when he's one of the Elon Musk is the conqueror and emperor. He thought that Hitler was an answer. Reason number one. And reason number two, he had the control over the kind of the warfood the battleships. And the third one is Kaniyada. He always embodied that kind of dominating. So somehow, I don't know, I have even read about the article where Subhash Chandra Bose liked dominating attitude.
That's the one black mark about Subhash Chandra Bose.
Hitler was keeping his hand to the neck of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on the shoulders.
They were very good friends. They were very, very good friends. And he mentioned the only thing I like about India is that created a riot against it. One thing I like about America is America knew how to keep control of Hitler, and that's about it.
Yes.
We share the belief. I
Yes.
also don't like him admiring the man.
The only thing I like about him is how I don't like non-violence, so that's why I didn't bring in Gandhiji. So I believe that if someone is showing violence, you have to strike back.
Then why are you so much irritated when stabbing performance and violence too much or show?
Yes, sir. I don't know, sir, but
It becomes an ironical thing when you say that you don't like non-violence, but you get very, very mentally disturbed when you're seeing these violent images.
yes, sir. I'm trying to overcome it, sir. By like I overcame it. Like initially, sir, it was too bad, but once I watched John Wick, and after that, it started coming down because John Wick is filled with that.
So justify that Keanu Reeves does that.
Yes, unjustified when Reeves does it. So I believe in violence. I mean, violence in the sense not typical violence, but like if someone is rude to you or doing something bad, you should not say silent, and you should resist. So that's the idea that the first freedom fighter who had that idea, one of the first was he, and he took it to a large scale. So that's why I brought him up. Now, sports. So, in order to not be biased and focus on like only a few sports, I would like to expand, and I would like to bring in a lot of sports here. And I just like to talk about what these people inspired and what we can learn from them. Incidents again. So first, basketball. LeBron James, he's my favorite basketball player, and the thing I like about him is, let's come from here, pressure handling. So when he was 18 years old, he was under like the biggest pressure from the world because he was a prodigy. Okay, he was. A lot of basketball players found it difficult to come up, but his talent was noticed from a very young age. When he was 18, he was called as someone who could surpass Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan is like a god in the NBA, and he was the only player who was believed that he can surpass the god himself. That's the talent that he had, and to reach there, he was homeless, and when he was a kid, he and his mom was pregnant at a young age, and his dad had no influence in his life, so he was moving around apartments in Akron, Ohio. Yeah, he was born in that city. So,
The mysterious train that
yes, sir.
that has been parked there for several years.
Yes, sir. And rags to riches, like I said.
யாரும் நீ விஷ்ணு
ஆமாம் சார். ஹரீஸ்வரா ஆமாம் சார்.
அப்படி போயிடுச்சு ஹரீஸ்வரா வந்தா பட்
அவன் தான் பெயின் வச்சிடலாம் எல்லாத்தையும்.
அது வந்து இந்த டார்க் பேட்மேன் பிகின்ஸ்லேருந்து டார்க் நைட் வந்தப்போ ஹீரோயினை பார்த்து இஷ்டம்.
ஆமாம் சார். ரேச்சல்
கேரக்டர் தட் லேடி வாஸ் எக்ஸலன்ட் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்ட்.
ஆமாம் சார். செகண்டில் கொஞ்சம் முக்கியம்.
செகண்டில் வந்து டாம் க்ரூஸோட எக்ஸ் ஒய்ஃப்
எஸ்.
ஷீ டிட் ரியலி வெல். செகண்ட்
ஆமாம்.
Only thing good about Dark Knight was Heath Ledger.
Yes. And the thing about LeBron.
To me, LeBron James is little, correct me if I'm wrong, he's a little bit aggressive and very aggressive. His playing tactics, if you had watching him, look at his athleticism. He is like a wrestler. He's got a 16.5-inch bicep, and he's not even like a basketball. Michael Jordan looks slender.
Yes.
So how do you justify that? I'm laying a complaint that he's very athletic.
Sir, he is athletic, sir. He looks more like a wrestler, like you said. But in terms of basketball IQ, in terms of making plays and controlling the game with his skills, I think LeBron James is the best, sir. I mean, Michael Jordan is.
You also mentioned Kobe Bryant had good IQ.
Yes, sir.
Previous presentation. Now you are backing up LeBron James. Good IQ. Which one is good?
Both of them have good IQ, sir. But the thing about Jordan and Kobe is, Jordan is a way better scorer than LeBron. He puts the ball into the basket more often. No one can stop him from scoring. But LeBron James, he does everything, sir. Scoring, passing. He's one of the best passers in the league. Michael Jordan never passed a lot. I mean, there were times when he was a good passer, but that was not his role. Actually, he was more like a scorer. But LeBron James, he creates chances for. He's like Messi, sir. And Jordan and Kobe are like Ronaldo. They are lethal scorers, and their job is not to pass the ball. So their job is to go and attack the rim and score. Jordan was a good passer at one point of time, but that was not what his coach told him to do. But he's like a one-man army, sir. His coaches sometimes were clueless, and he was the one who has to carry the team. and a lot of people say that he didn't get the support that he needed at times. So he switched teams and to win championships, and never say die. So there was a scenario when he went up against. His home state is Cleveland, a state called Cleveland. Like in India, we have Tamil Nadu, Haryana, and all. In US, there's a state called Ohio, and there's a city called Cleveland in Ohio. Okay, so Cleveland is a city in Ohio, and it's near Akron. So like, if this is Pollachi, the next nearest city is Coimbatore, right? So Cleveland was like Coimbatore, Akron was like Pollachi there, and he played for Cleveland, and Cleveland never won a championship in 50 years. And then, actually, let me talk about his career. He played for Cleveland. He was chosen by Cleveland in the draft pick. I told you, right? College players and high school players will be drafted. So he was the number one pick because he was the biggest talent. And in Cleveland, he couldn't win any championship. So he went to Miami, and he joined two superstars, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. And there he won 2 championships. And as soon as he left Cleveland, because he couldn't win, he wanted to win the championship. So Cleveland, the people of Cleveland, they burned his jersey. They were like, he's a traitor. As soon as he's not winning, he's leaving us. So once he won 2 championships, he came back to Cleveland and he promised that before I leave again, I'll win a championship for this city. And he did it. There's another team called Golden State Warriors. That's like, at that time they were at their peak. They won the most games in the regular season, that is the group stage, and a finals series. It's not a single game, it's a series, okay, 7-game series. Whoever wins 4 games first, they win. So his team was 1 and Golden State Warriors were 3. They won 3 games, his team won 1 game. From there he led a comeback. That's why never say die. That's the greatest comeback in NBA finals. And he single-handedly, he led the series in points, rebounds, assists. He led it in almost all categories, and he single-handedly led them to the championship. That's why I say never say die attitude. And a lot of people criticize him because he went to 10 NBA finals and he won 4. He lost 6. He lost 6 NBA finals. And a lot of people criticize, like Michael Jordan went to 6 finals, he won all 6. He went to 10 finals, he won only 4. He lost 6 finals. And like that, but you have to look at the situation which he was in, and he had to carry teams most of the times, and that's why he's my favorite, because he was at scoring, Michael Jordan was better, but in terms of being an all-round player who can contribute more for the team, I think LeBron James is the best player ever. Okay, Michael Jordan. I spoke about Michael Jordan a lot in the presentation, fallouts, understanding fallouts with Scottie Pippen, but the thing about Jordan is he's a killer. He wants to like destroy the opponent, and if he says something, he'll back it up.
He will destroy the mind. He does not
Yes.
words.
And the thing about Jordan is his opponents in the 90s, he was the biggest sports star on the planet, and his opponents were scared of him. So he's an intimidating kind of a player who they know that if we make him angry, he'll destroy us. So the opponents try to play nice, and some fools, they tried to argue with him and they got destroyed as well. The thing about him is he's very hardworking, he's dedicated.
And again, he doesn't react. It's like Lionel Messi.
Yes.
He doesn't speak back.
Yes. And he's also very humble, and that's the biggest takeaway from Jordan that I would like to take. And because I think he has had the greatest career of all time. He won 6 championships. There's nothing that he didn't win. He won Olympic gold and all. But when a reporter asked him about who's the greatest player of all time, he said that, the reporter asked him, are you the greatest player of all time? He said, no, if I say that I am the greatest player of all time, then I would be insulting the people who came before me. Okay. But there were instances when LeBron himself said that I am the greatest player of all time, but Michael Jordan never said it. He said that I don't like to disrespect. I never played against the people who came before me, and I didn't play against the people who came after me. I just played against the people who were my contemporaries. So I will not say that I'm the good. He's a very humble man. He's a gentle man, but on the court he was completely the opposite.
Followed Magic Johnson's iconic
Yes, sir.
stuff.
Yes, sir.
And in that interview also he mentioned about Magic Johnson.
Yes, sir. So Magic Johnson was a big player before Michael Jordan came in. And Jordan's first NBA championship was against Magic Johnson. So he defeated the biggest player at that time and he took that throne.
He got the name Magic Johnson because of his flying balls. Half court will not be part of the player. Another player with the Magic Johnson.
And his nickname is Air Jordan. So he's always in the air. And LeBron James' nickname is King James. Kobe Bryant. He is like one of the most iconic sportsmen ever, and I really love Kobe Bryant. This thing called Mamba mentality. You know, you see a black mamba, a snake that's very fast that can attack its prey, and Kobe was just like that. He was, if let's say you have Sachin Tendulkar in cricket, there is no one who has his style of play. I'd say.
No one.
Flawless drive, straight drive. Not even Bradman was able to play like.
Yes. So if you created a clone who could play just like Sachin Tendulkar, and so let's say Sachin here is Michael Jordan, and if you have a clone of Michael Jordan who could play just like Michael Jordan, who has everything that Michael Jordan has, that's Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant was he was inspired by Jordan, and his style of play is exactly like Jordan. You won't be able to differentiate between the two. So he's also an incredible scorer. Unfortunately, in the end of his career, he was injured a lot, so he was not able to put up that many points to increase his average. But in his prime, he was exactly like a carbon copy of Michael Jordan, and he's one of the greatest players of all time. But I think, in terms of influence, he's one of the most influential players of all time, and a lot of people want to be like him.
He retired early.
Sir?
He retired early.
He retired early. He retired when he was 38. In 2016, he retired, sir. And his last game, so there were two choices, sir. One, people could watch his last game, or people could watch the Golden State Warriors. So Golden State Warriors were one win away from creating history, sir. Most wins in an NBA season. So they could either watch that or Kobe Bryant's last game. Most of the people watched his last game, sir. And in his last game, Shaq once, they were like brothers, him and Shaq. They fought a lot, but before this game, Shaq said, hey, I want you to score 50 points. Will you do it for me? And in an interview, he asked, like, he was working in ESPN, and he laughed and he said no. And in that game, he scored 60 actually, in his last game. So he's legendary, like. And there was one incident from his life, and I want everyone to take it away and apply it in your own life. Like I said, NBA playoffs are played in a series, okay, and whoever wins 4 games first, they win. So Lakers were playing against a weak opponent, and Lakers were up 2-0. Lakers won 2 games, and their opponent won 0. So the reporter asked him, why are you so gloomy? You're 2-0 up, aren't you happy? So he was disgusted, and he said, what is there to be happy about? Job's not finished. Job's finished when 4 games are won. So I'm just halfway there, and what is there to be happy about? That's what he said. So it's impossible to satisfy this man. I mean, he is very obsessed. He won 5 NBA titles, and he's very obsessed, and his work ethic, I don't think I've ever seen anyone with his work ethic. His opponents, they try to intimidate him by going to the gym at midnight. Like, oh, I work harder than Kobe Bryant. They want to say that. But when they're in, he's already in full swing. So that's the kind of mentality that Kobe has, and he spends his entire life in the gym probably. And he is always dedicated, and when his teammates were partying, that's the one thing he didn't like about Shaq, because Shaq was naturally gifted. He was so big and no one could stop him. So after winning, he used to party, but he didn't take vacations. He used to be in the gym all the time. He perfected his craft, and he believed that once he's a basketball player, he has a responsibility to. And one more thing, he tore his rotator cuff, and his right hand was he was not able to move his right hand. So he continued the game. In the middle of the game, he got injured, and he continued the game shooting with his left hand. Because he said to his wife, quote, I don't want to disappoint my fans. Millions of fans, they spend millions of dollars coming to see me, and I don't want to disappoint them. I want to turn up for the games, and that's the love he had for his fans. And He's just a gem of a person. Stephen Curry. So I talked about the team Golden State Warriors, right? So he's the soul of that team. Without him, Golden State Warriors, they're a dynasty. So in NBA, when teams they win a lot of championships, they're called a dynasty. Okay, so he led the Golden State Warriors dynasty, and his height is just 6'3". I mean 6 feet 3 inches. It's a lot compared to an average man in India, but in NBA it's considered short. Even 6 feet 3 is considered short. And when he came in, he was skinny. He got injured a lot, and no one believed in him. Everyone thought, just like Tom Brady, I mentioned in that presentation. Everyone thought he was underrated, and he was not really given the appreciation that he really deserved. But there was one thing that he could do, that is shoot the ball. He could shoot it from full court, half court, wherever you name it. He could shoot the ball very well. And he didn't like to attack the rim a lot. He used to shoot it from a distance. He's called a sniper. He's the greatest shooter in NBA history. And before he came in, this is another thing, focus. Before he came in, people thought that you have to be athletic, you have to you have to get rid of all, you have to bump against players, you have to be strong in order to be good in basketball. He didn't have that, but he believed in his skill, which is shooting, and he perfected his skill, he worked on his skill, and he believed that even shooting can get you to a legendary status, and that's what he became, and no one can shoot the ball like him. That's what I said, skill belief. He believed in his skill. He did it his way. He dominated the league his way. He did not work too much on the stuff that he couldn't do. He worked on the stuff that he could do, and he perfected it. And that's why if you have a talent, don't worry about what others say, and don't look at that another person and say, oh, he's doing this, I should also do that. Dominate in your own way. That's what Steph Curry taught me, and he's one of my inspirations.
What's wrong with this?
So actually that's a mouth guard, sir. And in basketball you have to wear a mouth guard so that your jaws are not broken. But he has a habit since childhood. It's very uncomfortable for him. So it comes out and he keeps chewing it. So it's a habit that he had since young, so it's a mouth guard. So I watched him. He was actually the first player that I watched live when I was in 5th grade. And I thought it was chewing gum. So I was like, wow, it's a great chewing gum. It's like, it looks different, but then I came to know it's his mouth guard, and he keeps chewing it. It's like a habit. And whenever his mouth guard is out and he's chewing, then the opponents have to be ready because he's like coming to hunt them down. That's what it indicates. And revolution is bringing a change. So he brought about a change in basketball by shooting the ball more. And he's one of the greatest players of all time. He won 4 championships, the same as LeBron James. And Stephen Curry has alone cost LeBron James 3 championships. So out of his 6 losses, 3 were against Steph. So actually, one more thing, an interesting fact. Stephen Curry and LeBron James were born in the same hospital. They're like the Messi and Ronaldo of this era. And they were born in the same hospital. And a lot of people doubted him, sir. But when he was coming up, LeBron was already in the league. And LeBron told everyone that this kid is going to be special. He's going to be a trouble. And he became a trouble for LeBron himself. So that's an inspirational story of him. He practiced a lot. He broke the stereotype that only certain people could succeed. And that's why he's inspirational. And the last basketball star, Kevin Durant. He is someone who's called a snake because he switches team every 2-3 years. He moves from one team to the other. That's why a lot of people don't like him. But he's actually one of my favorite players because he's hated by everyone. Whoever watches the NBA, they hate him because he keeps changing teams. But in terms of skill, I don't think, in terms of offensive skill, he's right up there with Kevin Durant, because his height is he's more than 7 feet tall. He's 7 feet tall and he could shoot the ball. He can do everything offensively. He has the height. The taller you are, the more advantage you have in basketball. So he has the height, he has the skills. And despite that, and look at how lean he is. So he gets injured a lot. That's why also people hate on him. But I don't understand why people hate him too much. He's a misunderstood legend. And he's also one of the greatest players of all time. One more thing is no ego clashes. I think out of all NBA players, he played with the most number of superstars. He played with Steph Curry. He played with the man who I mentioned before. He played with Stephen Curry. He played with James Harden, Russell Westbrook. He played with so many top players. Kyrie Irving. Now he's playing with a player called Devin Booker. So he never had ego clashes. Like when two superstars are on the same team, they tend to have ego clashes in the NBA. Like Michael and Scottie, Kobe and Shaq. But he never had problems. He always did his best for the team. And the best thing that I like about him is his patriotism. Because in NBA there's a contract. Because if you get injured, you will not be paid some amount of money because you're injured, right? So you'll not be on the payroll. So fearing injuries, a lot of NBA players don't play for USA because if they get injured, then they'll lose a lot of money. But he doesn't care about it. He won 3 Olympic medals with the US and he always represents the US no matter what happens. Even in 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, he played and US won the gold medal against France. And he's like a leader of the United States team. So he's very patriotic and that's another thing that I like about him. Okay, football. So this man, you know him, greatest footballer of all time. Yes, sir. So I'll not talk about his football skills, but I'll talk about the things that we could learn from him. He's very humble. As you know, he never said that he was the best player ever. He's loved by all. So I'd like to narrate an incident. So in Argentina, a player is his teammate. And his name is Rodrigo de Paul. He said that we would all die for him. We'd go to war for him. That's how much he is loved by everyone. So he's not the kind of leader that says, you do this, you do that. And he never separates himself from others. He's very good to everyone. He's like Sachin Tendulkar. He is embraced by all. And if someone touches him, especially in Argentina, when he's playing for Argentina, if an opponent even touches him, everyone comes and like they push him away and they start talking trash to the opponent because he's loved by all. So that's the kind of admiration that everyone has on him. And patriotic. So Messi would have won the World Cup way before if he played for Spain. He had an offer from Spain that said, if you play for us, we could form a super team. We have so many great players, Xavi, Iniesta, and you could form a lethal team. But he said, no, I'll play for my country, the country where I was born. And that's why you all know how everyone trolled him for not winning a trophy with Argentina. But now he has won 2. And he has won the biggest trophy of them all. So that's why it's a loyalty and patriotic. He's very loyal and he's very patriotic. Since I've spoken about Messi a lot of times, I skip. So actually I love Ronaldo. He's my second favorite footballer. The only thing I don't like is his fans. I hate his fans because they're too delusional. But the thing we can learn from Ronaldo is his hard work and his mentality. I call him the Kobe Bryant of football because his hard work and mentality is similar to that of Kobe, and he had that competitive drive. One incident from his life is, so he lost table tennis to one of his teammates in Manchester United, to a teammate called Rio Ferdinand. He lost a table tennis game in front of everyone. So he went home, he asked his cousin to buy him a table tennis set. He practiced for 2-3 weeks. He came back, he called everyone, and he defeated him in front of the same people that he lost. That was how competitive he is. He has ego, but he has the right to, he has achieved so much, so it's good to have. I'm not saying it's good, but it's justified. A lot of people have ego, but you cannot expect everyone to be like Messi or Sachin. So a lot of people hate him, so like I said, misunderstood. So a lot of people hate him, but he's a workaholic and he's a machine who never stops giving. He always is in the gym, like I talked about Kobe, and he's an icon, he's a role model for many kids. So sometimes in interviews he's not able to contain himself and he says stuff that are not necessary, but I like the way he plays the game. He's very dedicated, sir, and he loves the game so much, and he wants to make sure that he wins and he scores and he's able to do something for his team, and which is appreciated. So Cristiano is one of my favorite athletes and my second favorite footballer after Messi. American football, Tom Brady, I spoke about him. I need not talk about him much, so you can just look at his. The one thing that I'd like to talk about is life's door. when one door closes, another one opens.
You have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. I'll finish it, sir.
Yeah.
So,
What's your mom? Is she around or?
I don't know, sir.
You came by your own vehicle or?
No, sir, mom brought me.
Before me. No, let me see how he does in your business.
Yes, sir. So when life closes one door, it opens another. So he was deprived of a lot of opportunities, like I said, but he got one opportunity and he grabbed it with both hands, and that's why he's here. So do the same in your life. So he's the best player in the world now, Patrick Mahomes, and I really love the way he plays the game. He's a very talented. His arm swing is good, but the most important thing about him is I'd like to narrate an incident. So I talked about Super Bowl, right, which is the final of the NFL. That game is called Super Bowl, and in the Super Bowl in 2023. I still remember February 12th, 2023, he played the Super Bowl, and in that game his ankle was twisted, but he played the entire game with a bad ankle. He could barely walk.
Why do you think these people, this is more perfect example that you're giving. People playing with physical tortures. Like you mentioned about Kobe Bryant, who played with the You mentioned about Michael Jordan playing along with the fever. That's
Yes.
what he was playing.
Yes.
And now this is an example. And Tom Brady also, you told about that he was physically hurt, mentally hurt, and well. What is the nucleus of these foreign players? Yes, of course, we have players in India also doing that. Sachin Tendulkar played with an eye, Dhoni played with a broken knee. I want you to touch upon that particular perseverance. What are they trying to prove when the physical toughness is needed for playing a game, when the physical toughness is put into cars? Still they try to prove. Why is that instinct comes into sports? What is the reason behind it?
Because they want to win, sir. They just cannot take the fact that
They
they're
also
losing.
consciously know that this could endanger their entire career also.
Yes.
Still why are they doing it?
So I think they're obsessed, sir, and it's just like they're playing in the park with their friends, the same game, but they enjoy it like they played with their friends. They don't look at it as a big stage and all. They enjoy it and they love the game and they want to win, sir. They're obsessed people. So you look at Indian cricket team now, sir. Bumrah, KL Rahul, they're injured, but they're going around the world, posting pictures and all. But these people, no matter how bad their body is, they still play.
Do you think it's ethical? Is it right?
Yes, and because of him, he played with a bad ankle and they won, sir, actually. So he proved that, and now he also took a treatment and now he's completely fine, sir. So it was the right decision to do, and he played the game brilliantly and he won the MVP, sir, in the Super Bowl. And I was actually a bit confused whether he'll continue or not, but he continued to play and he won the championship, sir. So he, like I say, never say die, team first attitude and his decision making. So he's also a very humble kid. He's just 27 years old and he still has a lot more years left, and he has already won 2 championships at such a young age. So if you look at this generation's kids, they get overconfident easily. So he's not that kind of a person and he stays grounded. So golf, I'll talk about one golfer, Tiger Woods. He's my favorite golfer and one of my favorite athletes, and he's like the Michael Jordan of golf. He has revolutionized the sport completely, and actually in golf they changed certain rules so that Tiger doesn't win because it was so unfair, because he was winning every time. So they made the golf course more challenging specifically for him. So that's the impact that he had, and he was dominant. He was so dominant and no room for more, which means he didn't even allow his competitors to come close to him. That's what his mentality was like, and he loved his craft so much. He's the most influential golfer of all time, and He's the second richest athlete ever after Michael Jordan. So that was the impact that he made, and his mentality is incredible. He's also very humble. He never tells everyone that I'm the best, despite the fact that he is actually. And if not for his car crash, he would have won more titles. He had a car crash in 2019. So, yeah. Boxing, Floyd Mayweather is my favorite boxer, and the thing about him is you can learn from him is decision making. He chooses his opponents according to, like, he has an unbeaten record, 50-0. He has won 50 fights and he has not even lost a single one. And his decision making is incredible. Like, he makes the best decisions and he chooses his opponents at the right time so that he could win. So the only time, the toughest opponent he found was Manny Pacquiao from Philippines, but still he won that game. So actually, when he got hit by Pacquiao, he was heard telling to his coach the timeouts they had. So during that, he told his coach, "Am I losing?" So that's the surprise he had, because he was not used to it. But then he buckled up and he won. That's another story. But he's again influential. He's the most influential boxer. Yes, sir. And he focused more on his defense. He used his brain. He tires his opponents out, and it's almost impossible to land a straight punch on his face. It's impossible because
Very fast.
yes, sir, very fast. And most of the games that he won are by technical knockouts. He's not like Mike Tyson who can go and knock you out, but he makes sure that he lands more punches on his opponents and receives less. So
He cares very less about Mike Tyson.
yes, sir.
When his coach instructed him that you should take Mike Tyson as a rival to use.
Yes, sir.
He said Mike Tyson is not right. He is such a kind of person who would go and look straight into the eyes of Mike Tyson. He would say, I don't know.
Yes, sir. He's that kind. He would even say that to Muhammad Ali, sir. So he's a winner. He's influential. The next person, Muhammad Ali. So more than his boxing, I like how he inspired black people to stand up against racism, and America forced him to go to Vietnam War so that he could his activism could be reduced. But he said, "I'm not going to kill any Vietnamese person. Why should I do it? You called me the N-word, they don't." So that's what he said, and he's a global icon. And there was one fight in Africa where his opponent, he came in with the German Shepherd dog and bodyguards all around him, but he came with no bodyguards. He embraced everyone, and that's why the entire continent of Africa was rooting for him, and they said, "Kill him, Muhammad, kill him, Muhammad." That was the chant. So he believed that greatness is being accepted by the people and not staying away from them. So that's another thing about Muhammad Ali.
You don't include Mike Tyson?
Sir,
Okay.
I like Mike Tyson, but
It's okay.
so Lewis Hamilton. So Formula One, it's basically the world's fastest race, and actually it was believed that Formula One is only for white people, but he's actually black. His father's from Jamaica. I don't know where exactly in the West Indies, but somewhere in the West Indies. So he has that heritage, and his mom is white, so he's mixed.
You don't like Superman.
Sir?
You don't like Superman.
No, sir. I like Hamilton more because he's the only mixed driver, and he was one of the first mixed drivers in F1, and he.
This guy doesn't know the technicalities of how a racer car runs. To make difference, he even prepares.
Yes.
On the field. He doesn't prepare. He has got his own technical recruits to do all that.
Yes.
Big to add head fuel into the right and all the ways. How did you do this?
So the thing about Hamilton is he is arguably the greatest racer of all time. He has won the most number of races, even more than Schumacher. But he's humble, sir, and he's still racing. And right now, this kid called Max Verstappen, who's winning all races, but still he's going on. And I like Max Verstappen a lot too, but I didn't have the. If I included him, it would have become too lengthy, the presentation. So I didn't include Max Verstappen. Maybe I'll talk about him later.
How do you do that? You still have Bruno Mars.
So no, sir, music is coming in part 2.
Yes.
So, racial victory. In UK, the racism is much worse than the US, so he overcame all that. Tennis, Federer. Actually, it's his birthday today, and he is like, I don't know, like it's incredible. Yes, sir. I mean, I don't understand how a person can be so humble, so good, so polite. He's a gentleman, and he's well respected. And though Djokovic and Nadal have more slams than him, no one had the style that he has. His charisma, his style, clean slate.
One of the tennis players who had only 4 tennis elbow injuries. Tennis players are first with tennis elbow injuries. Fitzpatrick had 15. Boris Becker had 27. Nadal had 18 or so. He had only 3 of them.
Yes, sir.
Which clearly shows his fitness.
Yes, sir.
Grand Slam winning, very less.
Yes, sir. So he was the first person to actually hit 20 Grand Slam wins. So that opened up space.
So compared to Djokovic and Nadal, he has less.
Yes, sir. Djokovic has 23. He has the most. We'll talk about Djokovic also, sir. But he's very influential, very talented, and respected. Djokovic, sir. I'd like to point one example from his life. So whenever he played against Federer, the entire crowd was against him. He in Wimbledon, he won against an entire country of England. Because everyone was shouting when Federer scored a point, and when he missed, everyone was shouting. So his mentality was hush the crowd, and that's why I love Djokovic a lot. He's fearless, intimidating. The opponents were afraid to face him. So he's the hardest worker in tennis, very flexible, patriotic. He had
You know what John McEnroe?
John McEnroe, US, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
He has some intense qualities.
Yes, sir. He is very aggressive, McEnroe.
Sachin and Kohli are watching Wimbledon. Sachin promotes Federer. Sachin is an avid fan.
Yes, sir. Federer.
Kohli supports him. But another Pakistan is watching
Yes, sir.
Wimbledon.
Fathers, yes, sir. So very patriotic. He was given a chance to play for Germany, but he chose Serbia, which is his country, and he refused an offer from Germany, and he wanted to play for Serbia, and that's the passion that he has. So last one sportsman from cricket, and
You better be right.
Dhoni. So actually, I like Dhoni a lot. He's my favorite cricketer, not because of his batting, but because of his leadership and the calmness that he has on the field. And I think so. Before he came in, winning an ICC trophy was once in a blue moon for India, like very rare. But yes, Kapil Dev did it. But after he came in 2007, they won. And
Kohli came close in 2003 World Cup. He took India to finals.
Yes.
We lost to
Australia. So Dhoni is my favorite cricketer, and I like how he handles pressure. He is a quick thinker. He knows the strategies, and he doesn't. He's not like some other sportsmen who like to show off, or like to. He doesn't want to be celebrated, but he is celebrated even without trying, right, sir? So he could have retired with a ceremony. He could have announced his last match, and a lot of people would have come to watch him, but he retired with an Instagram post. So he's very simple, and I like when people keep it simple and not overdo. So he missed the birth of his daughter because he was playing for his country. He didn't even take his phone because the news might disturb him. So I heard that his wife had to tell Suresh Raina to inform him about his daughter's birth. So when he was asked about it, he said, "Nation first, other things can wait."
The same retired from Test cricket, which is small achievement. One thing when people like Hari and you or any other youngster say that Dhoni is my personal favorite, very easily I get a hook there because of the respect that he paid for Test cricket. The way he retired from Test cricket was unlawful. The way he retired from one day was very, very relentless. Because when you are coming out of a particular domain, you are part of half a decade or at least 1.5 decade, you should have a bonus. Which again, but you see, it's just like you are viewing it as simplicity. But he did not formally and very respectfully announce the way to be seen at least. That's one of the pitfalls. But I wonder how youngsters are taking even that possibility.
So the thing about that is, so I think he's different from others, sir. And Uh, he even said that like some of the things he does likes to do on his own, sir, and he doesn't want to have some external authority on it.
Okay. Now, since you mentioned the last word here, I am very curious to ask this question. He's an ignorant person. So, Darshan, if you play cricket for about 1.5 decade, you won 3 ICC trophies per year, and with the retirement fund, as such a celebrated cricketer, what will you do? Can you have some options? You are also responsible.
Retirement fund, sir. What can I do?
With post-retirement, the best way to contribute.
So promote the game.
Promote the game in all ways. Starting a coaching agency.
Yes, sir, something like that.
Something like Rahul Dravid did.
Yes, sir.
What he did.
So he served in the army, sir.
Your thoughts on that as a presentation?
Sir, I don't know. He's
That movie blasted like a bomb in the box. Such a waste of money. He could have done something to Ranchi. He could have done. He invested 50 crores towards a coach, and he could have done something to Ranchi first of all, and he could have done something to Jharkhand, and he could have run at least a small under 15, team promoting agency, which Rahul Dravid did. My brother's son Amritesh was going to Rahul Dravid's cricket agency.
okay.
Rahul did fantastic things in Bangalore, his home country. So can you justify this?
So, but he chose to contribute to the country in some other way. When he was in the army also, and he spent time with the Jawans in the border. So
That's where, if he had been chosen by some other state, he would have thought differently. Since he chose Chennai, so since Chennai showed a lot of love, this guy got crazy and he did not know how to choose his post-retirement.
yes,
I think after the movie had got flopped, at least now he should think sensible.
yes, sir. But one thing we should thank him for is the 3 trophies, sir, because now you see it's a team of clowns, sir, except Kohli and Rohit Sharma. Only Virat Kohli, not even Rohit Sharma, sir. Virat Kohli is the only person that I trust in this
We
game.
don't see any ICC trophies in the games.
Yes, sir. So,
And he won all that during the difficult times.
yes, sir.
During the difficult times, 2011 was a very difficult time. And India was still an underdog after Sachin's almost close to retirement. I agree with that.
Yes, sir. So he brought the winning culture, sir, into the team, which was missing because, during Sachin's time, only Sachin when Sachin was out, the team used to fail, sir. But after Dhoni came, even when the top order was finished, he was in the middle order, sir. So
He will be in the middle.
yes, sir. So when he came out to bat, the TVs were still on because they believed that this kid could do something.
He will finish.
Yes, sir.
He will finish. 9 out of 10 times he will finish.
Yes, sir. And I like him, and also I like Virat Kohli a lot. So I didn't make a slide about Virat Kohli, but I quickly say about Virat Kohli and the partnerships that they two used to build. And I watched one of the partnerships live, sir, and Dhoni was the captain at that time. And though I think it was against New Zealand, India lost, but still Kohli and Dhoni played well, and they gave hopes to the Indian fans.
Not that I am throwing hatred to you youngsters. Dhoni retired from both the formats after realizing that he is going to play under some other captaincy. When BCCI announced that Virat Kohli is soon going to be the test captain, and Dhoni had a future playing under Virat Kohli's captaincy, he retired from Test cricket. And in one-day internationals, when Shikhar Dhawan, Virat Kohli, Suresh Raina, and Rohit Sharma were on the cards, and when Dhoni was pushed down the middle order, understanding that his captaincy is going to be rooted away, and understanding that he is going to play either under Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, he retired. That's something a good leader will not do. So, even though the leadership of the training country, I'm saying.
Yes. So, but he does have a good relationship with Virat.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
He does not like being a pawn. He wants either to be a king or at least a bishop.
Sir,
He does not want to be a pawn.
even in the World Cup, they lost to New Zealand, right, sir? Actually, Ravi Shastri sent him lower down. He sent, I think, Rishabh Pant before him. So that's why we saw Virat Kohli was fighting with Ravi Shastri. Why didn't you send Dhoni before?
If you watch in 2011, he will push himself upside
Above Yuvraj.
and Yuvraj Singh.
So, though a lot of people, he has a lot of controversies, but he doesn't care about them. He only focuses on his duty, and he has won a lot for India.
I love his lack of attention seeking. He never allowed Instagram post over there, Twitter post over. He never does that.
Yes.
I love that.
So that's why I had to pick Dhoni in cricket, though I had options, but I specifically wanted to talk about Dhoni. And brother is going to talk about Sachin Tendulkar, so I didn't have room for that. So yeah, Dhoni is my favorite cricketer, and I've never talked about a cricketer here before, so it was my first time. So thank you.
Music? Yes, sir.
Music next person. I've
Involve more things.
yes, I've mentioned
You
here.
have mentioned Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, a lot of people are coming.
Elvis Presley.
Yes, sir. I like Elvis Presley also.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
We have time for 2 questions. We have a question.
Thank you.
I want to know that how you have classified in the term of victory from the starting and the ending. You have given the victories. So you classified it the victories or the characteristics they have been coming from their failures.
Everything, because like when you pick a person, you have to, like, all of them are successful. They've all won. They've achieved, and to achieve something, you need the character, and you have to bounce back from failure. So Dhoni was run out in his 0 of 1 in his first game. He was run out, and that was a failure. He bounced back, and his place in the team was uncertain, but he became the captain of the team. And even under Kohli's captaincy, Virat Kohli was listening to everything that Dhoni said. Dhoni was controlling the team mostly. And you look at all the examples that I gave. Messi failed, Ronaldo failed, LeBron James failed, Michael Jordan failed, everyone failed. So failure is something that attacks everyone. So, but still they are successful, and we should appreciate it.
We got so many, this is one first and last question, then we are done.
Yes.
You got so many people enlisted here, and you have not been a big sports participant, although you love sports. You play football really well, you play cricket really well, and you play the other games also. Basically, athletic person. The family did not put you into any continued format of games. That's very important. Let's not speak about your father here. Let's not speak about your mother here. Your interest has been having a glorified growth, but as a mother, she wanted to put you in some sports academy. She did really like that, but unfortunately, that didn't shape up because of the academic commitments. So, having got these many people, any troublesome situation of your life, they ask you to choose some 3 or 4 people who will be your lifting angels to lift you from the troublesome waters of your life. Out of these number of people, 30 plus people, I mean 15 something people that you mentioned, which are all the 5 people that you will be having them as lifting in the film Rocky. Susan Staron's mentor always says that. That's actually Muhammad Ali's coach said to Muhammad Ali, when you're falling down, remember the 2 angels on your shoulders, and they are shouting at you, get up, you know the word, and you have a fight. Likewise, we all need a lifting angel for all those people.
Sir, Obama, sir. I really like Obama, and he's out of all these people, Obama's probably my favorite one, because I like his leadership, I like his class and all. I like Elon Musk, Sundar Pichai, sir. So from sports, I like to choose 2, since you said 5.
Yes, sir.
LeBron and Messi, sir.
Another question. Why is as a mom, she is reluctant to attend your presentation? As a son, you are reluctant to present your presentation in front of her.
So anyway, I know she'll watch on YouTube, sir. So I'm not reluctant, but she never comes in. She's outside, so it's better that way.
The other day I asked you, will it be discomfort for you if she is presenting you said immediately yes, without any remorse or second thought. Right?
So I was just playing, sir. But,
As long as I'm happy, as long as you're playing. Good job, Darshan.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. It's almost about 55 minutes, almost an hour of presentation. We will still continue. So maybe you can work, because since tomorrow's session is off, you can prepare the sessions thing, and you can also prepare the late life